guys, it's Dan the Z-Man here, bringing you another music review. This time for the Pitchfork Music Festival preview, I'm going back a few years to review Deerhunter's Microcastle, since I've already reviewed their latest album. And if you're wondering why I skipped some of the bands in Pitchfork to go to a later set at like 6 o'clock or something, it's because I don't actually own any of the albums from the bands in between Kurt Vile and Deerhunter. So that's going to be kind of a time where I just explore and see what else is out there. This album is quite honestly one of my favorites, actually. Easily the best Deerhunter record, and I'll tell you why I think so. First off, it's just really interesting sounding compared to most indie rock. I feel like Deerhunter uses a lot of just strange noises and things mixed with more traditional instruments to give that, more traditional rock sound, have some experimentation in it, but not go too far, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And especially like in the middle of the album when they have like the 3-part song starting with Calvary Scars, which is a big Jesus metaphor, and there's just little nuances to those songs that make it really interesting music. The beginning of the album starts off with the more traditional kind of poppy songs like Never Stops, which I led you in with, and that's just a great rock song. Really good length, just pretty to the point. Agoraphobia is great as well. Little Kids I'll talk about a little later. And the loud soft dynamic through the album is just perfect. One example would be the closing song, Twilight at Carbon Lake, which kind of sounds like, you're on a beach or something, just very quiet, and then explodes to end the album. And I want to let you guys listen to a little bit of that right now. Welcome back, guys. A little more on the loud soft dynamic is it's just so spread across from song to song as well. The beginning of the album starts out kind of loud, then the song Microcastle is very quiet and ends on a powerful note, so you get a little bit of that quiet. You kind of go back to the quiet with the trilogy of songs that I was talking about, and then you're struck instantly with Nothing Ever Happened, which is the loudest and one of the most interesting songs on the album. If you guys are fans of Deerhunter, you've probably heard that song above all else. But definitely check it out if you haven't. I don't think any clip I can play will do it justice. You have to hear the whole thing for the extended jam at the end of the instrumental. Or the end of the song anyway, it's not fully an instrumental. Then you kind of move on to some other great kind of upbeat tunes like Saved by Old Times. It has like this interesting dialogue in the middle. And more of the traditional vocals by Bradford Cox are really strong as well. Just when he kind of has these floating high vocals, they sound very heavenly at times, and it really contrasts with some of the grungy, hard shoegaze guitar that's woven in. There's a lot of distortion on some of these songs like Nothing Ever Happened, Twilight at Carbon Lake, and then Little Kids. I really want to focus on Little Kids for a while because it wasn't my favorite at first, but throughout the last few years, it's become one of my favorite songs of all time. The whole song is just a great metaphor about these kids that burn this old man, and it's a symbol for the youth rioting against the older generation. But also, Bradford's smart enough to know that it's all for naught because you're still getting older no matter how hard you riot against the older generations, that you'll be that one day. And I think that the songwriting is just brilliant, and as the end of the song goes along, it almost kind of feels like a life going by. The guitar gets more and more distorted and dark at the end, and by dark I don't mean really heavy, but it just kind of like fades out into this more like starry night kind of thing, and it really feels like kind of the the end of times for a life, and it's kind of depressing, but it's also such a great song. But overall, Microcastle is one of my personal favorite albums. I know a lot of people, judge perfection on everything from being original to just how strong the songs are, but I personally would give this a 10 out of 10. I listen to this album probably at least once a week since I bought it in 2008 or whatever. It was my favorite album of the year at the time, and I still listen to it so much because the songs just flow well, and there's not one that just drags on. Like some Deerhunter records have a little bit of filler in them, even though they're all pretty great records. I feel like this one is just perfect to me anyway. I don't know if everyone would say that about this record, but I for certain would. So stay tuned for my finale of the Pitchfork Music Festival preview. I'm sure you guys probably know which band it is by now, considering there's not much left. But until then, enjoy my preview of Little Kids.